few minutes on Sunday mornings to look at Bible prophecy. And the reason we do this is because the Bible predicts. Andrew, can you take care of this situation? Okay. The Bible predicts that certain events will take place in the last days before the Lord returns. And we believe that what's happening in the world today is a fulfillment of those prophecies. We turn our attention to Israel, and we see Israel as God's prophetic clock. And for today's update, I want to look at something that happened within the last couple of weeks that has profound prophetic implications. I don't know if you've been following the news like I have. Probably some of you have, if not most of you have. But this from Fox News on Friday, March 26th, the headline reports Netanyahu humiliated by Obama snub. According to Israeli reports, Obama walked out of his meeting with the prime minister for a private dinner. For a head of government to visit the White House and not pose for photographers is rare. For a key ally to be left to his own devices while the president withdraws to have dinner in private was, until this week, unheard of. Yet, that is how Benjamin Netanyahu was treated by President Obama on Tuesday night, according to Israeli reports, on a trip viewed in Jerusalem as humiliation. This has never happened before in the history of the United States of America since Israel returned by one vote in the UN in May of 1948 as a people to their land and returned as a nation. This has never happened. For the United States to snub an Israeli prime minister is unspeakable and even unthinkable. There's a reason for it. I've been following this Caroline Glick from the Jerusalem Post, and boy, I tell you, not a believer, but boy, she sure has her finger on the pulse of what's going on. I want to read for you excerpts from her article in the Jerusalem Post in anticipation of Netanyahu's trip to the United States. This was a week ago, Friday, March 19th. The article was titled Obama's War on Israel. Listen to what she had to say. Why has President Barack Obama decided to foment a crisis in U.S. relations with Israel? Obama himself claims that he has launched a political war against Israel in the interest of promoting peace. On Friday, Obama ordered Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to present Netanyahu with a four-part ultimatum. This is when she called him at Obama's directive and excoriated him for the announcement of the continuing of the 1,600 apartment building complex in Jerusalem. And he was excoriated by the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton for proceeding with and even allowing, while the Vice President Joe Biden was in Israel, to have this announced. So he was given an ultimatum, a four-part ultimatum. First, Israel must cancel the approval of the housing units in Ramat Shlomo. I'm just going to go on record, not in the article. I'm just going to go on record and let you know that this settlement in Jerusalem is not a settlement in, quote, occupied territories. Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel. This is not land in question. This land belongs to Israel. It was given to Israel. And so they can build whatever they want there. They can build a water park if they want. And if they do, we'll go. It will be safe, trust me. So, second ultimatum, Israel must prohibit all construction for Jews in Jerusalem neighbors built since 1967. Third, Israel must make a gesture to the Palestinians to show them we want peace. Fourth, Israel must agree to negotiate all substantive issues, including the partition of Jerusalem. If Israel does not accept all four U.S. demands, then the Obama administration will boycott Netanyahu and his senior ministers. Obama's new demands follow the months of American pressure that eventually coerced Netanyahu into announcing both his support for a Palestinian state and a 10-month ban on Jewish construction in Judea and Samaria. No previous Israeli government had ever been asked to make the latter concession. Netanyahu was led to believe that in return for these concessions, Obama would begin behaving like the credible mediator his predecessors were. But instead of acting like his predecessors, Obama has behaved like the Palestinians. Rather than reward Netanyahu for taking a risk for peace, Obama has, in the model of Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas, pocketed Netanyahu's concessions and escalated his demands. This is not the behavior of a mediator. This is the behavior of an adversary. There are 5 explanations for Obama's behavior, and they are not mutually exclusive. First, Obama's assault on Israel is likely related to the failure of his Iran policy. Second, Obama may be attacking Israel in a bid to coerce Netanyahu into agreeing to give Obama, watch this, veto power over any Israeli strike against Iran's nuclear installations. The third, it gets better. The third, Obama hopes to either bring down the government and replace Netanyahu and Likud with far leftists Tzipi Livni and Kadima, or force Israel, Beitenu, and Shas to bolt the coalition and compel Netanyahu to accept Livni as a co-prime minister. Livni, of course, won Obama's heart when in 2008 she opted for an election rather than accept Shah's demands that she protect the unity of Jerusalem. The fourth explanation for Obama's behavior, and this is really interesting, is that he seeks to realign U.S. foreign policy away from Israel. Obama's constant attempts to cultivate relations with Iran's unelected president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Ahmadinejad's Arab lackey, Syrian dictator Bashar Assad, and Turkey's Islamist Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan make clear that he views developing U.S. relations with these anti-American regimes as a primary foreign policy, put that word policy in your hip pocket, goal. The final explanation for Obama's behavior is that he is using his manufactured crisis to justify adopting an overtly anti-Israel position vis-a-vis the Palestinians. On Thursday, the New York Times reported that the administration officials are considering having Obama present his own peace plan. Given the administration's denial of Israel's right to Jerusalem, an Obama plan would doubtless require Israel to withdraw to the indefensible 1949 armistice lines and expel some 700,000 Jews from their homes. Likewise, the crisis Obama has manufactured with Israel could pave the way for him to recognize a Palestinian state if the Palestinians follow through on their threat to unilaterally declare statehood next year. That would be 2011. We'll be back by then. We're going this year. So this is, declare statehood next year regardless of the status of negotiations with Israel. In other words, Israel has no say in the matter of a two-state solution, Palestine and Israel living side by side in peace and security. It will be forced on them, and it will be imposed on them, and they will have no say in the matter. Prophecy updates like this are tough because there's so much that I would like to share with you, some of which I believe you already know, but suffice it to say that this is Bible prophecy being fulfilled right before our very eyes. This is exactly what the Bible says will happen in the last days. The attention of the entire world will be focused on Jerusalem. I see it as prophetic pieces of a puzzle. And this has profound implications by virtue of how it brings together certain